Hi, my name is Sharman Mirbrajan. Matrix number 229065. This is my demo for Lab 10. So we'll begin now. Okay, so here's the configuration topology. Now we'll start with the configuration. So on R1, we'll now enter interface 0/0/0, and we'll configure the IP address. Then we'll configure the IP address 119.84.111.1.page24. Okay, next on R3, uh, system rule, and then enter the interface internet 0/0/0 and configure IP address 119.84.111.324. Take some time. Okay, now let's run. Okay, so for the next step, we'll perform the AAA configuration of R1. So we'll exit first. Now, AAA. Mhm. Okay, so a new authentication scheme has been created. So next, we'll go authentication mode, local. Okay, that's done. Then go back and we'll create another authorization scheme. So scheme 2, sorry, authorization scheme. Application scheme, authorization scheme. This is our new authorization scheme has been created, and we will set the mode to local as well. Mode local, mode local, and click. Okay, so now we'll configure domain Huawei on R1 and then create a user and apply the user to this domain. So go into system view, then we'll enable telnet server. Okay, next we'll enter the domain again. Okay, and we'll configure domain Huawei. And inside this domain, we'll establish the authentication scheme auth1 and auto authorization scheme. Okay, so now that's done. Okay, next we'll set up a password. So local user1 at Huawei password for Huawei on. Okay, now that's done. We'll add another one. Local user1 at Huawei service right telnet. We use the user1 Huawei service type telnet. Okay, then another one. Local user1 at Huawei, privilege level 0. The highest privilege, I guess. User 1, Huawei, privilege level 0. Okay, so it's a small syntax error. So now we'll use this return command. And now we'll configure R1 as a talent server using AAA authentication mode. So to do that, we'll enter user interface VTY04. Okay, now we'll set the authentication mode to AAA. Okay, to verify whether the telnet service has been on R1 has been established successfully, we'll go into R3 and type the IP address of R1, which is 119.84.111.1. If it is able to connect, that means it's successful. Okay, so now it's connected. So it asks for a username. Just now we set the username as user1 at Huawei. Then the password will be Huawei123. Now we are able to access R1. We'll go into system view, right? Okay, so we quit now. So the operations are restricted as user privileges are limited to privilege level 0 for user 1 Huawei. That's why we couldn't execute the command. So now we'll perform the AAA configuration on R3. So now what we'll do is we'll configure the authentication mode on local as local on R3 as well as the authorization mode to local. So let's do that. So if now on come back to R3. Okay. So on R3 we'll create the AAA authentication mode and create a new authentication scheme of one. Okay. So now we'll set the authentication mode to local. Okay, done. So now set the authorization scheme auto authorization scheme of two. Now we have created a new authorization scheme and we'll set the mode to local as well. Mode local. And now that's done. We'll now configure the domain Huawei on R3, then create a user and apply the user to the domain. Okay, so the same thing as we did in R1 just now. We'll enable telnet, enable. Okay, next we'll enter the AAA authentication again and we'll create a new domain. Domain Huawei. So authentication in authentication one, and then authorization scheme H2 and go back. And now we'll set up the assign a user, which is local user 3 at Huawei, 3 Huawei, local user 3 at Huawei, password cipher Huawei 123. Okay, next We'll go with service type. The local user, user 3, Huawei. Service type telnet. Service type telnet. And then we will assign the privilege. Local user, user 3 and Huawei. Privilege level 0. Okay. So now we have configured now we'll configure the telnet service on R3 to use AAA authentication mode. So click again, and then we'll go into user interface, UI, 0 space 4, and we'll set authentication mode to AAA. Okay, so now we'll verify the results on R1. So check telnet 9.84.111.3. Okay, so now wait for it to connect. So now it's connected. We'll use user 3 at Huawei. Will be Huawei 123. Okay, now we are connected to our router 3. I'll just try to enter system view. We couldn't enter because of the privilege level 0 just now. Okay, so now that the operations are the thing are restricted because of the privilege level 0, now we'll observe the results of AAA configuration. So to return, okay, so okay, now we'll go and display all the results. Stay domain, domain name Huawei. Okay, as you can see, the domain name is Huawei. The authentication scheme is auth1 and the authorization scheme is auth2. Now for the next part, we'll try display local user, the local username, user1 at Huawei. Oh, a small syntax error here. Okay, so as you can see, the password is hidden and the privilege level is 0 currently. Then we'll go to R3. Uh, okay, we'll try display domain name Huawei. You can see the domain name Huawei, the authentication scheme is auth1 and authorization scheme is auth2. And then we'll run the same command again. Display local user. Name user 3 at Huawei. Okay, so same thing. The privilege level is 0. So that's all. Our configuration was successful. So I think that concludes my presentation, my demo for lab 10. Thank you.